Amud Aleph. Sukkot Avdal Nishmas Brachas of Yehuda. We are approximately, well, we're right in the middle of the page. We're right in the middle of the page. So we could really back up a tiny bit. Let me just think for a second. Let's back up a tiny bit because we touched on this, but it's all one long sugya. So says the gemorah. We'll back up to just above where those pictures are. The gemorah says, like 5 lines above the picture. So this sukkah is above 20, and you've got leaves coming into the 20. So in Tzilsim Ruba Mechamtzun Kshera, if the leaves hanging down are there's more shade than sun, that in itself is a kosher sukkah, it's good, kshera. If those leaves hang in are thin, they don't give any shade, then it's possible. So if it's above 10, and you need above 10 tvachim, but you've got leaves coming into the yud, Sava by Lemeimar by thought to say, if you've got more sun, it's kosher. If the leaves hanging down are thin, then that's fine. That's not called a sukkah below 10.
Only the part that's hanging down, not the upper part, obviously.
The upper part stays above 10. Some leaves hang below 10.
You have to have more shade, but here you have to have more sun if it's in the lower part.
Again, so hold on. You've got this sukkah, let's say regular size sukkah, width-wise. It's a big sukkah. The whole thing is exactly 11 tefachim high. You've got these leaves hanging down 3 tefachim, right? So Abai wanted to say that as long as the leaves hanging down are thin, they're not thick, you can sit anywhere in the sukkah. The whole sukkah is good. But if the leaves hanging down will become rave, the implication is if the leaves hanging down will give you proper shade, rave tzal, that would be a kosher schach, then it's a pasul sukkah.
Okay, I got it.
Now, someone asked yesterday, and the reason this is why I want to see the gemorah again over here, why, when it's above 20, right, and you've got leaves hanging down, below 20, so why does that become a kosher, why is that a kosher sukkah? Just because you've got enough schach. Why didn't you look at it like you got sukkah underneath the sukkah? So, besides the fact that it's one, you look at it like it's one schach. It's not that you don't have a shir of a sukkah on top of you. You've just got schach below schach pasal. Why is it considered schach below schach pasal? So it's all one schach. L'chayra. The Mishnah says in another place that if you've got half the schach, you've got thick schach, half of it's below 20, half of it's above 20. It's kosher. Why? Because the halal sukkah isn't allowed to be more than 20. There's no rule that schach above 20 is possible. The schach above 20 is not possible schach. What is the problem? Having a vir, air in the sukkah above 20. That's the problem over here. You can't have a vir sukkah above 20, and you don't. As long as you got thick schach, you don't have a vir of 20, you don't have air that's 20. It's not that the schach above 20 is possible. There's no psul of having schach above 20. Some ask it in a way of a kasha over here. Some Rishonim say, well, what's going on over here? But l'chayra, the din of 20 is you have to have walls 20. There's no din of schach above 20 is possible. As long as you can see the schach, and as long as some of the schach is below 20, you see it. If the air is more than 20 feet high, then that's called possible. But here, l'chayra, it's not above 20. Anyway, it's once. So therefore, Abai wanted to say that if the sukkah is below, just above 10, and your schach dips below 10, as long as that's not kosher schach, it's kosher. Why? Because you need to have a bias needs to have 10 tvachim high, right? And as long as the schach hanging down doesn't have a din schach, it's not roiv tzal. As long as it's livable in, it's 10 tvachim high. So you've got these very annoying pokey things coming down. You can't live there. but it's a kosher sukkah. You've got to share 10. Once you've got Rav Tzal, Tzilsa Muruba below 10, now you don't have 10. In other words, he's looking at it like, how do you look at the structure? Is the structure 10 tefachim? Is it above 10 and below 20? If yes, good. If not, not good. Comes along Rav and says, no. It doesn't matter the fact you've got a kosher building. The shear is good. As far as the building size goes, it's kosher. There's a separate problem here, that it's dirusrucha. You can't live in it. It's unlivable. That's a separate problem. Besides for Shalom Richiel, it's a separate problem. Besides for what's it called? The size of the Hetzim Sukkah. The Miri okay. So it says the gemorah. Let's keep going for a second. It says the gemorah. So Rava said, someone by the name of what's called Omarava Dirusruchi, it's unlivable. Veinam Dabi Dirusrucha, and therefore it's possible. And on that we said it's a shtickle machlokes if it's a psul b'diavad, if it's psul lechatchila. The Meiri brings two opinions. L'chayra, the Rambam holds that b'diavad it's kosher. It's not a psul doraisa. If you sat in the sukkah b'diavad, it's kosher. In other words, mid doraisa you need to have 10 tefachim. Mid doraisa can't be 20 on the side. These are doraisas, right? That's a share of a structure. This is just a din, and it's not comfortable for you, and therefore you can't live like that. But it's a b'diavad. With the rice, it's good. But just lechatchili, that shouldn't be a sukkah. The Marsha asks, I don't understand. No, it's not the Marsha, sorry. I think it's Rishash asks. I don't understand. 9 tvachim is a dirusrucha, it's unlivable. So why is 10 tvachim a kosher sukkah? 10 tvachim should also be a dirusrucha. You can't stand up in 10 tvachim. 10 tvachim is a meter high. No one's a meter tall. You can't stand up in 10 tvachim. You can't even sit down in 10 tvachim. You can lie down, right? But you can also lie down in 6 tvachim. What's like the magic, number 10 tvachim? Why 10 tvachim is also dirusrucha? L'chayra. And in Achanami, I think the Oracle there says, yeah, if it's very wide, you can lie down comfortably, then you're okay with 10. But if it's small sukkah, you can't have 10 tvachim, you need 18 tvachim in order you can stand up. He doesn't like the fact that you can use normally 10 tvachim. Yeah, it's also dirusrucha. Our gemorah says, in all circumstances, 10 tvachim is less than 10 is a dirusrucha. But there could be circumstances where even 12 is a dirusrucha. If it's small and short, it's also dirusrucha. It's unlivable. Others say no, these are shira midarabon, and the Chazal will convey what the shira is. They said less than 10 srucha, not less than 10 is good. Don't make up like new gzeras what's considered a dirusrucha or not. But other Rishonim say, listen, as long as you can sit down in it and eat, that's not called dirusrucha. You can sit on the floor in 10 tvachim and eat, and you're comfortable, I guess. If you're sitting on a chair, I think you're going to be above a meter high, to the best of my knowledge. But if you're sitting on the floor, you can eat on the floor, you eat on the stool, you're less than a meter high, that's not called the dirusrucha. So the shear is, you can sit, you don't have to be able to stand. That's how they understand. You can lie down, you can get a shlup, you can go to sleep. Says the Gemara. So, Haisa Gvaya Me'esrimama. Now let's say the sukkah is about 20 feet tall. Huge structure. It's possible. So what do? You build, so you got this 20 feet high building between the two side walls and along one wall. You build a platform. You raise the ground. You raise the ground enough that you don't have a shift 20 feet, right? So what's it then? As long as you got in that platform, you're 7 by 7, kshera, the sukkah is kosher. Okay, that makes sense, right? L'chayra. Now, if you're sitting on that, you can see the schach. We said before that it's still a problem. It doesn't make sense. You still have walls kva. You still have walls above 20. How does that make a difference? And now. So they say once it's bottled. You look at the structure for the inside, that's the size of your circle. You don't start making a cheshbon whether the walls were 20, they weren't 20. But the Miri has a different kasha over here. We have a principle that all mitzvahs should be tasav min asay. You're supposed to build it you're supposed to make it. You're supposed to tasa. You're supposed to make it. But also, you shouldn't be happen to be it's kosher. So here, when you built the sukkah, you built the puzzle sukkah. Now you happen to fill it in. That's tasa v'leimin asay. L'chayra. Why is it not tasa v'leimin asay? So it's an interesting question, interesting sugya. I don't think we can get into it over here. Tricky. I don't know how to explain it. In a nutshell, why is it not tasav leibin asay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Explain the concept of tasav leibin asay.
Tasav leibin asay means, let's say you've got to I don't know. You're supposed to take a lulav, right? So you cut down the lulav and you shake it. But let's say you cut down the lulav 3 weeks ago. You're holding this thing that's not yet kosher lulav, and now it grows into lulav. You didn't take a lulav. You took something. It naturally happened, right? It happened from you didn't do what was supposed to happen, but it happened by itself. You didn't build a kosher sukkah. The sukkah became kosher. So here the Meiri says it's not a problem with Tasav Leibin Asay, because again, the sukkah is a kosher sukkah. The schach is kosher schach. There's no problem with Tasav Leibin Asay with schach. So for example, you're supposed to put kosher schach down on your sukkah. Let's say you put down posel schach. It's attached to the tree. Then it got detached. Tasav Leibin Asay. Doesn't help me that the leaves fell from the tree after you put it down. Now you have reif tzal. You got to put down schach that's kosher. So here, the schach you put down was kosher. There's a separate problem called you've got more than 20 feet of air. That's not a problem of Tasav Leibin Asay. There's a psul of air. Happens to be that you can't have more than 20 feet. The schach is kosher schach. In other words, the psul of, I think it's like this. Tasav Leibin Asay you can say on schach. You can say on a lulav. You take a lulav, you take an esrog. It can't be Tasav Leibin Asay. If you happen to drop parchment and it makes tefillin, that's Tasav Leibin Asay. You got to make it. You got to write it. So, for example, classic example, right? You got to write mezuzah. You got to write a sefer Torah. Let's say you spill a bunch of ink on a paper, and then you pull off a stencil, and whoops, you've got a bunch of writing there. That's Tasav Leibin Asay. You got to make it. You got to write it. You can't just remove the rest, and you're left with the good stuff. You're left with perfect, beautiful ksav. So you can't use a stencil. You can't just. Otherwise, you could just use a stencil, write Sefer Torah. Everyone could be the most muhuddah sefer. You print a silicon, whatever it is, stencil.
Yeah.
You pour ink on it. You got like 1, 2. You pull it off. There you go, beautiful stuff. No, it's Tasav Leibin Asay. You've got to write it. You got to write it. You got to put down kosher schach. So here you put down kosher schach. There's a separate problem though of having air that's more than 20. Air more than 20, you can reduce the air. There's no problem of you have to build air. The Torah doesn't say make air in your sukkah 10. The Torah says put schach down. The Torah says you need 3 walls. The Torah doesn't say you need air in your sukkah. So you're taking away the air. That's not a problem with Tasav Leibin Asay. Tasav Leibin Asay is when you have to do a physical mitzvah, it has to be active as opposed to b'meila happening. All right. So says the gemorah. So now you build this itzvah, you build this platform, right? Uminatzad, you build the platform on the side. If from the platform that you built till the wall, you've got more than 4 feet, the sukkah is psula. If from the platform till the wall you've got less than 4 feet, it's kosher. So everyone knows this. Then my kamashmal and daminu doifin akuma. What do you see from here? That we use a principle called doifin akuma. We look as if the wall is bent over. So in other words, the middle of the sukkah, you've got this very, very tall sukkah, 50 feet high. You built a nice big platform in the middle. If from the wall till the platform you've got less than 4 amas, kosher. If from the wall till the platform you've got more than 4 amas, posel. Why? Because we look at this, that wall is reaching over till the platform, and now you've got a wall above the platform, and you're good. So you've got kosher walls. In other words, the sukkah requires 3 walls and schach. So here, even though your walls are far away from the kosher part of the sukkah, but now it looks like the walls are going in. The question is, it's a machlekes shtickle. What does it mean, Dofen Akuma? What does Dofen Akuma mean? Do you look like the schach? So you've got kosher schach here in the middle, then you've got posel schach here. Does that mean that the schach is now part of the wall? You've got schach here, right? You've got kosher schach, where there's a platform underneath, and you've got posel schach, and here it's too high, right? So does the schach become wall, or does the actual wall continue? You look at it like the wall continues. What's going on over here? Is the wall continuing, or does the schach become wall? You're saying to yourself, what's the difference?
No, I'm confused with the whole thing.
Again, you've got a wall over here that's 4 meters away from your kosher sukkah. And then you've got kosher schach here, but you've got posel schach here. Does this wall take your left turn, and where the schach is, now that schach becomes wall? We look at the schach that's posel as wall. And now the wall's attached to the schach. You can't say the wall, the schach has to be near the wall, right? Schach needs wall. And the wall has to be within 4 amas. So if it's less than 4 amas, we'll say the wall is a L-shaped wall. It's an R-shaped wall. The wall goes up, goes left 3 feet, and now your schach is attached to the wall. That's option A, right? That you got. The wall turns left and reaches your schach. Option B is the wall goes up, turns left without the schach. The schach doesn't help me. The wall, you look at it as if the wall is going all the way. Nothing to do with the fact that there's schach there. I don't need the schach there. The schach, if anything, just bothers the wall. The wall was making a nice, easy journey. There's air there. Doesn't need to go through anything. Though the schach now is like blocking the wall from carrying on. The schach causing a problem. There's 2 ways to look at it. It looks like a shtickle machlekes Rishonim. Rashi, Ramban. The Ran, the Ritva, the Meiri, they say that the schach becomes wall. You don't look at it like it's schach now. You look at the schach like it's wall. There's Deacon, the Rambam, and Deacon Rashi. But no, the schach doesn't become wall. The wall magically carries on till the kosher schach. We're not using the posel schach there. So you ask yourself, who cares? My nafkamina. Who cares? Well, there's a couple of big nafkaminas. First of all, can you sit under that posel schach? Are you allowed to sit under that schach? If the schach becomes wall, so you can say, that's a wall, you can't sit under it. Because there's a cloud. You got kosher schach, psala yitzim in a sukkah is kosher, right? You could sit under non-kosher schach that's coming out of kosher schach. So one nafkamina is, can you sit under that area? Another nafkamina is maybe more negeya, is you can't steal the wall. Sukkah gozels posel, right? Let's say you stole the schach. Not the kosher schach, but the extra part is stolen. It's stolen property.
But it's not part of the sukkah.
It's not part of the sukkah. Very good. It's not part of the sukkah. Are you allowed to sit under that schach that's stolen? If the schach turns into wall, it's stolen schach, stolen wall, puzzle. But if you're not using that schach, the wall is carrying on without that schach. So I don't need that schach. Dal schach, get rid of the schach, and it's a kosher sukkah. Nafkamina, Doraisa, is it kosher sukkah or not? Sukkah goes, you steal a sukkah, the thing's puzzle. So are you using that schach to be machli a sukkah or not? Interesting shayla. Says the gemorah. All right, so says the gemorah. Tanina, this is what you're teaching me over here, the principle of doifen akuma. We've already learned this principle in other places. Let's say you have a house, right? You got a nice big living room, 10 feet by 10 feet. There became a hole in the middle of your living room ceiling, right? It happens. You have a sunroof in the middle of your ceiling in your house. V'sichach al when you put schach there, you put your reeds, you put your mat there, you put your leaves in the middle. Im yesh min ha'kaisa l'sichach dal adamas psula. If from the wall of the house till the schach you've got more than 4 feet, it ain't good. It's possible. Ha'pachas mikan k'sheira. If from the wall of the house till the schach you've got less than 4 feet, it's kosher. So we already learned this principle of Dofen and Kumah. Why are you telling me this din over here with the Itztaba, with the platform? The Mishnah says a din with a platform kosher. We know Dofen and Kumah is a separate Mishnah of Dofen and Kumah. Why do you need to learn Dofen and Kumah over here with a platform thing? So Gemara says, Ma'al the Tema, I need both. Ma'al Tema Hasam with the Chazil Dofen. In the case of the house, right? This guy's house, the walls aren't 20 feet high. They're not 30 feet high. It's a normal wall. He's got 10 feet high walls. So then you could say Dofen and Kumah. But the Itzba case, again, what's the case of Itzba? You've got these walls 25 feet tall. The walls are puzzle. You built a platform in the middle, right? You built a platform in the middle. The question is now, can you use that wall that's puzzle to reach over and create a Dofen Akumah to kasher the sukkah. So it's a massive chiddush. You can use those puzzle walls. Even though the walls are above 20 feet tall, it's good. Since the aver, the air in your sukkah is less than 20 feet, we don't care if the wall's 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet tall. You can use Dofen Akumah and it becomes kosher. Okay? That you can use it either way. Says the gemorah. Let's say your sukkah is above 20. So you built this platform in the middle. Again, you build a platform in the middle. If between all 4 walls you've got less than 4 amos, parcel, less than 4 feet is kosher. The Gemara is what's the chiddush of it? We know this. We learned this in the Mishnah. Dofen and Kumah. We've got 2 Mishnahs that told me Dofen and Kumah. What's the Gemara telling me now? What's the added din? So Mike Marshall doing Dofen Kumah. You're telling me the chiddush. Excuse me. Do you mind doing it later? 1 minute. Mike Marshall, you're telling me we say Dofen and Kumah? Is that the chiddush? No. We know Dofen and Kumah. So, you might think that one can use the principle of Dofen and Kumah, extended wall. That's murach achas. That's only if there's one wall. Aval kol ruach la. You might think if all 4 walls are Dofen and Kumahs, you can't say that. Even if all 4 walls are Dofen and Kumahs, you can still use the Dofen and Kumah principle. Okay? So, Haisa Pach is Miyud. The sukkah is less than Yud Tvachim. Nu then. You got the sukkah, you built a beautiful sukkah, your wife comes and tells you, sorry, Rabbi, it's only 9 Tvachim, I remeasured it, you miscalculated, it's 9 Tvachim. So, what do? What do? You start digging. You start digging, you dig out in order to make it 10. So says the Gemara, if from the wall where you dig out till this, so let's say, I'll give you the numbers, you got a 9 tefach wall, and you dig a tefach down, right? Now you've got 10 tefachim, kosher. But if the wall to where you start digging is more than 3 tefachim, it's possible. If it's less than 3 tefachim, it's kosher. Now, before you turn the page, I just want to take a look in Rashi, the 3rd medium-sized line in Rashi. Actually, it's the 4th medium-sized line in Rashi. Rashi says, Hechsher Sukkah. Rashi, the Gemara here says, if you've got Hechsher Sukkah, Ketana, what's a Hechsher Sukkah Ketana? Shiva Tvachim or Mashu. You need to have 7 Tvachim and a Mashu and a something. Now, in other places, Rashi says that the kosher sukkah is Shevet Tvachim. So it looks like there's a machlokes Rashi and Rashi. What's a kosher sukkah? Is a kosher sukkah 7 Tvachim by 7 Tvachim? Or is a kosher sukkah 7 Tvachim or Mashu? You need 7 and a bit. What's going on over here? It's a Mashal's Kasha. Why does Rashi, and he says it in a few places in the sukkah here, you need 7 Tvachim or Mashu? What is it? Is it 7 Tvachim or is it 7 and a bit? Is it 100 centimeters? Is it 101? What's happening over here? So some say, since we don't know exactly what 7 Tvachim is, you like duck, you don't want to say exactly 7 Tvachim, you shouldn't make it exactly 7 and really be little less than 7 and therefore it's going to be possible. Be careful to do mashu, but Rashi doesn't normally do that type of thing, right? He's not making zeros. The shir is 7 Tvachim, he says 7 Tvachim. You want to go ahead and be machmeh. Why does Rashi say the shir is 7 Tvachim mashu? So some want to say, some Achronim say, you know why? Because here, since you've got to go ahead and make imaginary walls, you've got to give that imaginary wall some space. A centimeter, a mashu. If it's exactly 7 Tvachim, then your imaginary wall is going to take up a centimeter, now you don't have 7 Tvachim. So you need a mashu in order that you have the 7 Tvachim of kosher sukkah. Okay, we're going to turn the page tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem. We'll end over here. Have a wonderful day. Shkoyach.
Shkach.